I'm Amelie and welcome once again to my channel. Today I'm going to be watching Scumbag System episode number 2. But before we go to the episode, let me just say that there's a huge storm here in Argentina, actually in Buenos Aires. I don't know what's the weather like in the whole of Argentina, but in Buenos Aires there is one hell of a storm. And right about time we have the Santa Rosa storm that always happens, usually about this time of the year. And it's usually pretty bad, but this year apparently it's coming extra spicy, and you know, we're just going to have to bear it. But you're maybe wondering, why am I getting a weather report? What's this? I'm just here for the reaction. But let me tell you, you may hear some rain. Obviously you may hear some rain. If it's raining very hard, you may hear some thunder. But when there is very strong, very hard storms, very big storms, my cats behaves like little assholes. I don't know what it is about the storms. Obviously, maybe they are afraid, but also they are little assholes. And my dogs are also here with me, so if, you know, they may start barking when there's thunder or something like that. So that is just to warn you, there might be noises for this. I'm going to, at least now, I don't think it's raining too hard, but and hopefully it sustains like this for at least half an hour, something like that. But if it doesn't, you may hear some noises. If it gets too bad, I'm just going to pause and continue when it stops. But hopefully I don't have to do that because it's already pretty late, and you may say, why don't record another time? I can't record another time. This is the only time that I have because of my stupid work. So let's talk about Scumbag System. I love the first episode. I would say that it's definitely very different to the other adaptations that I've seen from the same author. Definitely it's a lot more comedic, I would say. So that definitely gave it a very different tone. And I enjoyed it. Obviously, having a character that is from modern times means that he's going to have different reactions, and his reactions don't disappoint. He's so over dramatic. I love his internal monologue. I love the contrast between his internal monologue and the way he's supposed to behave. It's fun. It's fun. I love him. I already love Shen Yuan. The animation, it's not the most beautiful. Let me just say that. It's not the most beautiful. I would say that to me, Heaven Official's Blessing has the most beautiful animation. But it's not terrible. It's not something that at least distracts me from the story. So I got used to pretty quickly. And there are some parts where it actually looks pretty good. There are some close-ups to the characters that actually look pretty nice. Some background scenes look very nice as well. To me, some of the movements can look a little bit awkward. Not the movements of the characters' bodies, but for example, the hair of things like that sometimes can be a little bit strange. And also, I think somebody mentioned in the comments as well that the faces of the background characters, maybe they didn't put as much of an effort, and they don't look as, you know, as good as the main characters. But again, none of that is something that bothers me. I think I got used to the animation pretty quickly. So I'm happy about that. So, about the story. Some people told me also in the comments that Shen Qingqiu in the original story, according to what I've seen, I thought that Luo Binghe had put him in just a pot, like he was all scrunched up there, like his whole body. But they told me that actually what he did, what Luo Binghe did, was cut his limbs and then put him in a pickle jar. That is, well, on the one hand, disturbing, to be quite frank. That is absolutely disturbing. But on the other hand, it does make sense because I feel like it's easier to put someone in not that I ever thought about it, but it seems like if you want to put somebody in a pickle pot, it seems like cutting the limbs. It's definitely something that is going to ease the job. Not that I recommend it. I don't recommend putting anyone in a pickle pot, but, you know, don't cut people's limbs either. I don't know if that's something that I should make clear, but it feels like a lot of the people in the internet don't understand subtlety, or maybe when I'm being ironic. So just in case, I'm going to say that's obviously a joke. Don't put anyone on a pickle jar, please. Anyway, that is disturbing. And he also told me that I went into a rabbit hole, because apparently this is not something that was invented for this. This is something that it was a punishment. I think at least in China, it was something that happened to other people. And my God, why? Like, who thinks like that? Who thinks like that is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put him in a pickle jar. That is disturbing. Like, I feel like nowadays, in today's world, there is a lot of things that are very, very wrong. But I feel, well, actually, I hope. I listen to some true crime podcasts, and I know that there's some fuckery going on as well, but I think at least it's not something sanctioned. That putting people in pickle pots definitely is not something that we accept as easily as maybe at a certain time in history, which, thank God, because again, disturbing. Not that I mean, we always live in a shitty time anyway, but at least we can say that. That is something. Okay, so in the first episode, we have Shen Yuan, who's reading this novel, who is a harem novel. And this novel is called Proud Something Demon Way. I think the word immortal is there. Proud Immortal Demon Way. I don't know if that's the correct order of the words, but it's something like that. This novel is fucking huge. 6,000 chapters. And again, I was going to research if there are other novels that are that long, but I forgot them. So I'm going to assume that it's the longest novel in history. He reads it, but he actually doesn't enjoy it. He actually hates this novel, and he loves to criticize it. So after he finished the last chapter, he's very angry. He starts, typing his little mean message. People do not support him, and he is going to eat when he dies, I guess he choked or something. I think he was eating like dumpling, I'm guessing. Something like that. Anyway, he dies. And instead of going to whatever place, whatever happens after you die, maybe, I mean, as far as we know, maybe this is what happens after we die. And this is an interesting question. Like, parentheses. If you have to transmigrate into a novel that you have read, which one would you like to do, to transmigrate into? And which character? That is an interesting question. If you put it in the comments, I'll find it very interesting. I have an answer, but I'm going to save it, I think. I know the novel. I don't know the character. So I'm going to think about it, and the next time I do a reaction, when I do episode 3, I'm going to tell you my reaction, but I'm going to tell you my choice. But if you can tell me your choice, maybe you convince me and I'll change it. Okay, so he transmigrates into this novel, and he doesn't transmigrate as the hero of the story, but he does it as the villain, Sheng Qingqiu. I don't know if he's like the main villain or one of the villains, I'm not sure. But Sheng Qingqiu was the master of Luo Binghe, and he was a piece of shit towards him. I'm not clear why. Maybe I was told and I forgot. But he was a piece of shit. He mistreated him a lot. And then Luo Binghe gets some power. And when he does, that is game over for Sheng Qingqiu. And he became a pickle, limbless person. And eventually he died as well. So you can see the problem Shen Yuan is facing. He now has the possibility of becoming himself a limbless pickle person. So now what he has to do is to try to maybe change that. Maybe become friends with Luo Binghe, or change his relationship with Luo Binghe so Luo Binghe won't punish him in the future. However, things are not that easy, because this system that governs this reality that he's living apparently has this thing that is called OCC. And this OCC means that he cannot behave in any way that is too different from the original character. So you can see his problem here, because on the one hand, he has to change the story enough to make a difference, to make an impact in his ending. But at the same time, he can't change a lot because that's just one of the functions of the system. This is not permanent. He has the possibility of disabling this function by going on a mission. But we haven't, they haven't told us a lot about that yet. So that is the basics. And by the time episode 1 ended, what was happening is that you have Ming Fang, who is Shen Qingqiu's, or I guess now Shen Yuan's first disciple. And you can imagine that if this guy, this boy, I guess, he looks like a child. If this boy saw Shen Qingqiu behave in a certain way to Luo Binghe, he's trying to emulate him as well. So he also is a piece of shit towards Luo Binghe, who is a baby of 14 years old. He literally looks like a little baby. He's adorable. Anyway, this Ming Fang is bullying Luo Binghe. There is another girl there called Ning Ying, I think. I don't know if I'm inventing that. It sounds like it was something like that. This girl, she's just there. She's trying to help Luo Binghe, and she seems to have a lot of affection for him. Sadly, what she doesn't have is a lot of brains. So a lot of the way she was trying to help him, they just weren't helping. They were actually making things so much worse. And also, it's weird because they are in a cultivation sect, I guess. Doesn't this girl have a sword? Can she kick some ass? I don't know. Just push him. I don't know. Her whole thing defending Luo Binghe is just, she's standing and saying, "Oh no, don't do that." And Ming Fan continued doing that. So they're making Ming Fan and his little creepy crew, they are being mean to Luo Binghe because he has this jade pendant that apparently is a fake, but Ning Yin like it more than Ming Fang. And I think Ming Fang maybe has a little crush on Ning Yin. And, Ming Fang gets mad. He laugh at Luo Binghe's jade pendant, throw it away. And this is a big deal because this belonged to Luo Binghe's dead adopted mother. So Luo Binghe gets mad, he attacks Ming Fang, but eventually they subdue him and they are pushing him onto the floor. And Ming Fang is about to break his hands, as you do. So this whole thing is being observed by Shen Qingqiu. No, well, it is Shen Qingqiu now. I guess, I don't know, is it confusing? I don't know how the fandom talks about the different characters. If they refer to the original Shen Qingqiu as Shen Qingqiu, and then as Shen Yuan, as Shen Qingqiu, they talk about, as Shen Yuan. I don't know. It's confusing. There is a lot of names. And also they have the same last name, I think. So that makes it more confusing. Anyway, Shen Yuan is just observing this. He's observing, he cannot do anything. And at the same time, he wants to, because on the one hand, he wants to make Luo Binghe's experience a little bit better. So maybe he won't come back and, kill everyone. Also, he knows that in the original story, Ming Fang was killed by Luo Binghe. I think he was eaten by ants. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he was eaten by ants. So maybe he's also trying to, give this guy hands like, look, maybe consider not to, because things are not great in the future. But he's looking and he can't do anything because anything that he does is going to be considered as OCC. So that is the situation that we had at the end of episode 1. I did a summary for some reason. I did a recap. It wasn't my intention. I was just going to mention a few things, but it doesn't work like that. Sometimes in this channel, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes I just mean to do a short intro and I end up speaking for 20 minutes. It's not this time. This is going to be 15 minutes, something like that. But here we are. It is what it is. Okay, very good. So let's go to the episode. I'm going to stop talking about this, not completely, because otherwise it's going to be a strange reaction. I'm just going to, watch episode number 2. So let's go to episode number 2 of Scumbag System right now. These episodes are so short. 36 minutes, and without the intro and the outro. I think I already mentioned this in the past episode, but I don't know. They just seem so short. Okay, very good. So let's go to Scumbag System episode 2 right now.